So why don't we get into the Jets? And watching that game just gives me agita. Watching the New York Jets play football sometimes, especially when you were 6 times in the red zone and only have 1 touchdown to show for it, and that was a quarterback sneak by Mike White. Mike LaFleur absolutely bombed and made so many mistakes in the play calling, especially on the 1-yard line, and he decides to throw the ball on the 2nd down, 3rd down, and 4th down. Throughout the week, we have been hearing so many attacks about why the Jets decided to go with Mike White and not dress Zach Wilson as the backup quarterback. How they're ruining this kid. How this kid will never get the confidence to go out there and win or even play as the starting quarterback for this organization. And maybe they're right, but you can't question a coach that is 7-5. They should really be 9-3. Should have beat the New England Patriots not once, but twice. The confidence level for the New York Jets is so very high. There was a story coming out about Garrett Wilson, how special he is, and Sauce Gardner and Robert Saleh said these 2 guys are not only special, these guys are elite. How many times have we heard that the Jets have elite players at multiple positions? Breece Hall was on his way to win Rookie of the Year. Now Garrett Wilson has a chance to win it, as he was Rookie of the Week. And you wonder what this Jet team is. And I don't think they're going to win this year. Now, I could be wrong. We've seen crazier things. Ask the Bengals. They didn't win, but they were right there in the Super Bowl.
49ers, too, when they made it 3 years ago. They were coming off a 3-13 season.
The 49ers had Jimmy Garoppolo for the Bengals, Mr. Burrow. The Jets don't have that quarterback. Now, is Mike White the next coming? I don't think so. Do I think he's competent enough to win for the Jets? Absolutely. Nick Foles won. Why couldn't he? I think he's a better player than Nick Foles. Maybe he gets hot. Maybe he takes the Jets all the way to the Super Bowl. Who knows? Do I think that's going to happen? No. I have not questioned anything Robert Saleh has done all season long except the receipt thing. And I apologized because he was right. He said he was going to take receipts. He put his money on the line for this team. He believed so much of this team going into the season. He was willing to pretty much tell everybody, you guys would not be making fun of this team at the end of this season. That this team is a good team. This team is a growing team. This team is going to change their ways of winning. And he was right. That's the sign of a good coach. When a coach says something, he believes in those players, and those players go out there and do it. They are 7-5 right now. They're in the final playoff spot. They have a chance this week to knock off the Buffalo Bills for the 2nd time with a backup quarterback. No Von Miller. Morano's going to be there, and the Jets didn't play him the last time they saw him, and he's a very good run-stopping linebacker.
Tied for the league lead in tackles for loss right now.
That's with Von Miller in the lineup. He's going to have to do more. This defense is going to have to do more now that Von Miller isn't there. Are they going to trade Zach in the offseason? Do they go after Derek Carr? Do they go after Jimmy Garoppolo? Maybe they go after Lamar. I doubt it, but maybe they do. Maybe they draft a quarterback again in the 2nd and 3rd round. Let him sit the bench, let him learn, and decide to part ways with Zach and trade him to a team that wants him for a 2nd and a 4th, like they did with Sam. They don't trust him. For a team to have him sitting the bench when 2 other quarterbacks are starting over him, Streveler, who's nowhere close to the talent Zach Wilson is. Flacco's an old man. The hell is he the 2nd guy? He was a great player when he was at his elite position. He's not anymore. He had one of the best playoff runs we've ever seen. If you're a Jet fan, you're not happy about what this coaching staff is doing to your quarterback.
And you nailed it earlier. Michael LaFleur, I don't know what he's doing in that game. When he started calling plays once they crossed midfield, I don't know what he's doing. This is a team in the Vikings that has a secondary that's older, and you're not getting these players more in motion. Yes, Corey Davis had a nice game, but he's not the receiver to be able to use in that situation. Garrett Wilson did his thing. Tremendous. Rookie of the week, 8 catches, 162 yards.
It's unbelievable.
Where's Elijah Moore? Where are these running backs that are so shifty? Why are they not getting involved in the receiving game? Yes, the Vikings stopped the run. Why are these guys not being used as receiving backs? You have to spread these guys out. The Jets' offensive line actually played very well for most of that game. The Vikings still were able to get a pass rush later in the game because they weren't worn out because they weren't running the ball. Mike LaFleur, between the balance and between the questionable play calls in the red zone, they threw a fade on 2nd down at the end of that game. Garrett Wilson, if you want to criticize him for one thing, it was his size coming in. You're going to put him against a bigger Patrick Peterson and trust him to win on one-on-one matchup? A veteran corner, a bigger corner, is usually going to win that kind of thing. Why not put him in motion? Do a screen pass, do a double move or something like that to get inside and get open. As far as Zach Wilson, yeah, I'm surprised too that they wouldn't dress him at all. Even if they kept Flacco too, have dressed 3 quarterbacks.
I think that's the only mistake they have done to Zach Wilson. He should be the backup quarterback. If Mike White is horrible, they bring Zach Wilson in. But you have him sitting the bench. If Flacco gets hurt, you have to see Streffler. How do you do that? You're a journeyman CFL quarterback that is a higher ranked quarterback than you are, and you were the second pick in the first round. It's a horrible move by the Jets. It makes the Jets look really, really bad as an organization when it comes to drafting quarterbacks. Now, they're winning, and they're still in a position to make the playoffs. So the Jets are trying to do what's best for the organization. But are you going to sell to the fans after you decided to part ways for the second half of the season with your starting quarterback? Are the fans going to like to see Zach Wilson next year when he's on the field and he becomes the number one quarterback for this team again? No fan is going to want to sit there and see Zach Wilson behind the helm when we already know he lost his job to a backup quarterback, a journeyman backup quarterback that was drafted by the Cowboys in the 5th round.
There's no sense in not dressing him. Yeah, if you want to dress 3 quarterbacks, dress 3 quarterbacks, but let him have a chance to play if Mike White gets hurt, or maybe he has that 4 interception game. That's something that could spark his confidence again if he comes into the game and does something. Yes, Mike White is going to remain the starting quarterback.
As well as he should.
He threw 369 yards in that game against the Vikings. Yeah, he had an interception on the first
Yeah,
drive.
2
That's
of
fine.
them. And both of them weren't his fault.
Yeah, the second one, at the end of the game, you have to take a chance in that situation.
The first one was batted in the air.
If Mike White does have that downfall, why not have a chance to redeem yourself that way?
I don't want to hear it from the Jet fans telling me he's the next coming and he's the quarterback of the future of this organization. The Jets don't think that. It's an amazing story what Mike White is doing. The Jets do not believe Mike White is the future of this organization. I don't care what Garrett Wilson is saying. They want to piss off Zach. For some reason, they hate Zach Wilson. There's something going on in that locker room that nobody is saying. They're keeping on low down. And I understand Robert Saleh is a quiet guy. He doesn't want his players going out there and talking to the press of things that has nothing to do with the press. I believe there will be a story that comes out if he gets traded or when he's done and he retires. There might be a truth to this story.
There's always going to be that locker room presence, too. Zach Wilson comes out and says what he says, not taking responsibility, and there were guys liking the tweet, too. That has to have some kind of disruption, and the teams were even making shirts for Mike White, so shows how much they care about him.
Giants tie 2020 against the Commanders, play this week against the Eagles. This is a big game for both teams. Yeah. Now, for the Eagles, they can actually clinch a playoff spot if they win this week. I don't remember the last time the Eagles clinched a playoff spot with 5 games left. I haven't seen that. I think it's an amazing feat, a quarterback that everybody was backing up on, and the Eagles thought very highly of him, but nobody else did. With the Eagles with multiple first-round draft picks going into this year, a lot of people believe that they were going to go after a quarterback if they fell out. There is no way they're going after a quarterback. Yeah. He was a second-round draft pick. What a steal he is.
I remember at the time, I didn't like it that early in the draft. I thought it was going to be more like a 4th-round prospect. I'm like, all right, maybe they got an insurance policy for Carson Wentz. Maybe they're going to run some kind of wildcat with him. No, he's developed into a MVP candidate this year.
He's been fantastic, and to me, he is the MVP. He is the best player in the league right now.
It's insane what he's done also with rushing yards and passing yards next week. Tennessee took out the
Great
run.
arm, accurate, can run the ball, squats 600 pounds. He's strongest quarterback in the NFL. There's no question. And he had to really figure out how he could become an elite player in the league in the offseason, and he worked and he pounded it out. And look at the player he's turned into. It's fantastic with the weapons that he has around him, and A.J. Brown and Smith and the running game, the 3-headed monster they have over there, and a great offensive line. They're unstoppable, and they're going to be very hard to beat.
And it's going to be very hard for the Giants who have a banged-up secondary to be able to contend with that receiving core, too, because they got Brown, they got Smith, they got Quez Watkins, who's a good slot receiver, multiple pass-catching running backs. The Giants, with the banged-up secondary, really just haven't been the same. Julian Love has to do everything. He's out of position all the time, and their pass rush has not been the same either. And it's going to be hard against this Eagles offensive line, and also quarterback at Jalen Hurts that runs well, too. He rushed for 125 yards and a half against the Packers.
And the Bills lose Von Miller for the season, torn ACL. That bodes well for the Jets. It bodes well for the Miami Dolphins and also the New England Patriots. So losing a significant defensive piece like that, there is no way they're going to be able to replace him. So it is going to hurt their defense. They have one of the best defenses in the league, and with Von Miller, they have one of the more elite pass rushing defenses in the league, and the Jets could take advantage of it. Very interesting moving forward. So, Speedy, you ready for the 3 fall picks of the week?
Yes. So let's start with the Minnesota Vikings at the Detroit Lions. 51.5, the over-under for this one. This is a interesting scenario because the Lions are actually home favorites, and a lot of our betting guys will tell you not to bet that kind of thing, so I do think it'll be a close game, but I am going to take the Vikings in this spot. I'm definitely going to take the over. I think this is a high-scoring game. Lions defense, they play better in recent weeks, but they have struggled, but the Lions offense has picked it up recently, and DeAndre Swift is kind of healthy, more than he was in week 3 when they first played. So I'm going to take the Vikings. I think it will be close. I'm going to take them on the over.
Yeah, I like the Lions in this game. What we've seen over the last couple of weeks, Giants. Team dominance. They're running the ball. They're throwing the ball. Brown's becoming a star. Now they have Williams coming back. Jared Goff is throwing the ball very well. The offensive line's kept him on his feet, and the defense has looked a lot better. Shout out to Campbell and that coaching staff. They've been fantastic over there. I like the Lions in this game on the over.
Eagles and Giants. The over-under is 45. I am a Giants fan, but I am not optimistic this week. 3 of the last 4 games teams have been able to take out Saquon, and the Eagles just took out Derrick Henry last week. So that's not a good sign for a Giants offensive line that's getting some pieces back, but is still not 100% healthy. The secondary is all banged up, and Jalen Hurts is playing like the MVP of the league. I think this is a blowout. Give me the Eagles on the over.
Yeah, I like the Eagles too. The Giants, I know they're at home, but I think it'll be close, and I think it'll be on the under. I don't think they're going to be able to score as much. It's going to be cold. I believe that the Giants are not good enough to stick with the Eagles because the Eagles have so much talent from their offensive side to the defensive side, even special teams. One of the best special teams in the NFL. So I like the Eagles in this game. I think the Eagles on the under.
Last game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the San Francisco 49ers, 37, the over-under. No Jimmy G, no problem for me. I'm going to still take the 49ers because I do like 2 things with this matchup. Defense being number 1 in the league. I like Charvarius Ward in a matchup against Chris Godwin. Bigger guy with slot corner experience that could contain him enough. The Buccaneers probably without Leonard Fournette. And that offensive line looked like a mess against the Saints last week. So I think Brady's going to have a lot of trouble. And offensively, I don't think Purdy's going to have to do much. Now, the Bucs have a good track record with Christian McCaffrey, but receiving-wise, I still think he'll do well, and those receivers will do the rest. So I'll take San Francisco beyond.
I love San Francisco in this game. Tampa has not looked good. They squeaked by last week against a lonely Saints team. Now you're going against a team that actually can play. And you look at what Tampa Bay has done over the last couple of weeks. They have not been impressive. Tom Brady hasn't been impressive. Tom Brady looks old. I just really, really like San Francisco in this game on the under.